Hi guys, so in this video I wanted to talk about the year or the last several years that William and Harry have been having, sort of like a comparison of the difference in how Harry's life is turning out and how it's going, and how William's life seems to be going at this time. I mean, since Harry and Meghan left the royal family, they're no longer senior working royals. Harry lives in Montecito, California with his wife and two children. William has the monarchy all to himself. But it seems that Harry has been having a much better time. You know, we see Harry at things like the Clinton Global Initiative. Recently, he was at this gala, which is um, tied to his Pat Tillman Award. He attended. I mean, Megan wasn't with him this time, but it was very low key, according to People magazine, and he was there at this gala, looking very commanding and debonair. And I mean, and it's just one of many public appearances he's made since he and Meghan stepped back from royal duties, and certainly in 2024 alone. I mean, they have been very, very busy, as I said, both Harry and Meghan, right? We know that the UK press and the international media really has been doing its endeavor best to break up this marriage between Harry and Meghan since they decided to move to Montecito. But it seems like, and they keep telling us that Harry and Meghan are getting divorced, for example. They're not even together. Harry has separated himself from Meghan. He's detached himself. Meghan has dumped Harry. But it seems like this marriage is going strong while things with William and Kate seem very weird. You know, Harry, as I said, has had a very, very successful year. Recently, he was, talking with NATO about how NATO, you guys, NATO can be of help with the Invictus Games. The Invictus Games has become so important and so huge that look at who is engaging with Harry about these games. NATO, okay? As I said, he was just at this gala for the Pat Tillman Award that he received. He sat next to Pat Tillman's widow at this event. I mean, he's just looking like a global statesman all over the place. He is highly respected everywhere he goes. He looks confident. He looks gracious, right? People respect Harry everywhere he goes. And it's remarkable, especially when you consider the amount of work and energy that the UK press has put into destroying him and destroying his marriage to Meghan. I mean, during the NATO meeting, for example, they were talking about the fact that Megan's, the wedding picture was behind Harry in his study where he was giving this Zoom because they had spent the previous several weeks or months lying to the public that Harry and Meghan were getting a divorce, that Harry was detaching from Meghan, that Meghan had dumped Harry. And so everybody could see that that was not true and that Harry was still very much married, because here's the picture of him and his wife right behind him as he spoke to NATO, right? Meanwhile, what is William even doing, right? We'll get to that in a second. But so, as I said, if I mentioned about the Tillman Award, right, that Harry went to this gala recently, very low key. Meghan was not with him. And when you juxtapose all of that with what William has been going through lately, he went down to South Africa for the Earthshot Prize, and apparently the whole thing was a fiasco. I mean, people were heckling him that you have no sovereignty in our country, William. Get out of our country. This is a sign that was shown to the Prince of Wales, William, when he was in South Africa just a few days ago. And apparently the whole trip was a total bust. It just didn't go well. Nothing was really achieved. He got very little ratings and a lot of heckling. Sometimes it was so bad that it's reported that he had to go through the back door to avoid angry mobs of people in South Africa. I mean, it was an embarrassment because this followed a week of horrible reporting back in England about him, William, and his father, Charles, as being slumlords who have been milking the British people for well, they haven't been for centuries, but their family has been for centuries. But the more on that later. So all these articles were written actually about why was William heckled by angry protesters in South Africa. And that's a good question. I mean, people were saying he has no sovereignty, leave our land. It's not really that unusual. I mean, William gets heckled wherever he goes. He even got heckled in England, but certainly for the international tours, like the last one they went to the Caribbean, they were heckled by the Caribbean people. And, Charles and Camilla were likewise heckled when they went to Australia and Samoa. I mean, Charles was heckled in Parliament by one of the ministers. It was an embarrassment. So you can't really say it's just, the ethnic people who are doing this. I mean, in Jamaica and the Caribbean, it's one thing, but in Australia and now in South Africa, it's the same thing. William is being heckled. Charles is being heckled. Kate is sick. Camilla is sick. What is going on with this royal family? William said in South Africa during an interview that 2024 has been the most difficult, most worst year of his life. And I would be inclined to believe him. I mean, it just seems that he couldn't get it right no matter what he did. He just could not get it right. I mean, people are saying that this whole South Africa trip, for example, was just one big photo op, that he cares nothing about the environment because it was revealed during a documentary last week about him and Charles and the amount of money they make each year by charging people even to dig graves, to cross bridges. I mean, they're charging the NHS, the National Health Service. All of these, British organizations and institutions are being milked and creamed. And this was, the whole story last week. So people are saying he went to South Africa this week to try to cover that up and do a photo op. And I'm inclined to agree. He even tried this whole thing where he wore a thrifted blazer he found at a vintage store and sneakers. So people were talking about his fashions, but not in a good way. I mean, YouTubers were literally making fun of the Prince of Wales's outfit, his thrifted outfit, but it all just seemed hypocritical because of the fact that a lot of the money he makes through his duchy, the Duchy of Cornwall and the Duchy of Lancaster and other private things he owns, uh, are in companies or from companies that do very bad things to the environment. They pollute the environment and they really do bad things to the environment. So the idea that he flew down to South Africa talking about he's wearing a thrifted blazer and eco-friendly sneakers and all of this other stuff really fell on deaf ears. People were not impressed with the Prince of Wales, and people have said that the outfit didn't even look right on him. Nobody ever says that about Harry. Everywhere that Harry goes, his style is praised, his persona is praised. I mean, he just looks commanding, he's respected, he's loved, he receives acclaim and accolades and awards for almost everything he touches, everything he does. When you juxtapose that with William, it is a real thing to behold. It's like if you're William, you can understand how frustrated you must be to be the king and to have your brother outshadow you, outplay you, outclass you, outdress you, even at every turn. I mean, people were just not loving this outfit, as I said, that he tried to do this whole, he's so eco-friendly. But his whole Earthshot Prize thing, anyway, that he went to South Africa for, was a dud. It got no ratings because it was right after the American presidential elections on November 6th or 7th or something like that. And nobody watched, no one cared. But yeah, there was this documentary that was done, like I said, where he was exposed as the UK's biggest slumlord, according to a lot of different YouTubers and even major press like the BBC, where it says here, off with their heads, King Charles and Prince William slumlord, whatever that was, we missed that. But they called them slumlords, and they uncovered all of the ways that William and Charles and the royal family are creaming and milking the British people in a way that has not been done before. I mean, this documentary really went deep to expose them. And so basically, they're now trying to cover that over with some good press about his eco friendliness and this and that. But the South Africa thing and the Earthshot Prize, I mean, Heidi Klum, who was one of the main guests featured at the Earthshot Prize, admitted that she had never even heard of the Earthshot Prize. And she said they are the ones who contacted her and asked her to appear. They probably paid her a fee, or at least for her travel expenses, to just, get star power at this event. It was not enough. Nobody watched. No one even knows who were the recipients of these awards. Were awards given out? I'm not even sure. But there's no question that William is having a very, very terrible year. I mean, just a year ago, it seemed like they were a fearsome foursome with Charles and Camilla. And a year later, what a difference a year makes. You don't see pictures of this like this of them anymore. Hardly ever do you see them together with Charles and Camilla. It's almost as if there has been a big bust up behind the scenes, such a juxtaposition. I mean, it calls to mind when Harry and Meghan and William and Kate were supposed to be the fabulous four, the Fab Four, when they, at the very, very beginning, before there was this big bust up, and then William and Kate kind of seemed like they were aligning more with Charles and Camilla after Harry and Meghan left. But that too seems to be a big bust up at this point. I mean, it barely seems like Kate and William are really together. There's a coldness, a distance, that has come into this relationship. And what else? I mean, it's just been a terrible year. Like William did this documentary on homelessness that got no ratings. I mean, it's a mess, you guys, a mess. Anyway, that's all for this one, you guys. See you in the next one. Take care, bye, and do subscribe and hit the notification bell for updates. Bye.